The evening sky above the Earth colony shimmered in pale gold light, the sun sinking beyond the metal domes and green fields. Ethan Cole wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished repairing a broken water pump outside his small home. He was a simple man, an engineer who liked quiet work and family dinners. His wife, Mara, called from the doorway, her voice warm. "Dinner's ready, Ethan." Their two children, Lena and Toby, ran around chasing a mechanical toy dog, laughing. Their laughter echoed through the open air, peaceful and ordinary, but that peace ended when a deep hum rolled across the sky like thunder. Ethan looked up. A silver glow was descending through the clouds, smooth and slow. The people in the colony stopped what they were doing, eyes wide. Children pointed and shouted, "A ship! It's landing!" The ground shook softly as the craft touched down outside the main gates, its hull glowing with strange blue light. Ethan felt his chest tighten. The ship was not human. He knew enough technology to see that it was far beyond anything built on Earth. The colony guards raised their weapons, but no one fired. The ship's ramp lowered with a hiss, releasing a soft mist that drifted over the sand. Out of the mist stepped a tall, elegant figure, a woman. No, not human. A being of shimmering silver skin, glowing eyes, and long dark hair that floated as if underwater. Her beauty was breathtaking, yet unearthly. She wore a flowing white suit made of light fabric that seemed alive. Mara gasped and pulled the children close. The alien woman's gaze moved slowly across the crowd until her eyes locked on Ethan. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, in a calm voice that carried across the wind, she said, "Ethan Cole of Earth." Ethan froze. "How do you know my name?" he asked. His voice trembled. The woman stepped forward, each movement graceful and slow. She stopped only a few steps away and placed a hand over her heart. "I am Aliera of the Valari," she said. "I have crossed 3 galaxies to find you." Murmurs spread through the crowd. People whispered in shock. Mara's hand tightened on Ethan's arm. "Ethan, what is she talking about?" she whispered. Ethan shook his head. "I don't know. I swear I don't know her." Aliera's eyes softened. "You may not remember," she said, "but long ago, during the Valari Human Alliance War, you saved my people. You gave your blood so our warriors could live. You were marked by our ritual as my destined mate." The words hit Ethan like a storm. "That's impossible," he said. "I was an engineer on a relief ship. I didn't agree to any ritual." But Aliera lifted her hand. A small hologram flickered above her palm, showing his face and signature, glowing in alien symbols. The crowd gasped. The proof was undeniable. Mara's face turned pale. "You're telling me you married an alien?" she said softly, tears welling in her eyes. Ethan reached for her hand. "No, Mara, I swear, I had no idea." But Aliera stepped closer, her voice trembling. "I have waited many years. I was told my human had died. When I learned you lived, I came to fulfill the bond. You are mine, Ethan of Earth." The colony guards looked at one another, unsure whether to intervene. The commander stepped forward. "Ma'am, this is Earth territory. You can't claim a human citizen." Aliera turned her glowing eyes toward him. "It is not a claim," she said. "It is destiny." Her tone was calm but full of power. The air around her shimmered faintly with energy. Mara pulled the children behind her. "You need to leave," she said, her voice breaking. "He's my husband, not yours." Aliera looked at her quietly. "Then why does her daughter hide behind you and not him?" she asked, her eyes turned toward little Lena, who was peeking from behind her mother's dress. Lena blinked at the glowing alien woman and whispered, "Are you a princess?" Aliera's stern expression softened. She knelt down, her glowing hair brushing the ground. "Something like that," she said gently. "But I am not here to harm you, child." The crowd began to disperse slowly, whispering about what they had seen. The commander ordered guards to stay alert, but no one dared touch the alien. Ethan stood frozen, confusion filling his heart. He looked at Aliera, who watched him as though seeing a dream made real, and then at Mara, whose eyes were filled with hurt and fear. He whispered, "Why me?" Aliera's answer was quiet, but the whole field seemed to hear it. "Because your blood once saved my life, and now my heart belongs to you. Mara turned away, tears sliding down her face. Ethan took a step forward but stopped, torn between duty and shock. The alien ship's lights pulsed slowly, reflecting in her silver eyes like stars. The part ended as Aliera lifted her face toward the night sky, whispering in a soft, melodic tone, "I have found you, Ethan of Earth, and I will not leave without you." The night after Aliera's arrival, the colony could not sleep. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said she was a spy. Others said she was a goddess. But Ethan sat silently in his home, staring at the glowing hologram Aliera had shown him. His wife Mara sat across the room, her arms folded, her eyes red from crying. "You said you don't know her," she whispered, "but her proof, it shows your name, your face, your blood." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "I swear, Mara, I don't remember anything like that," he said. "I was on a relief ship during the Valari War. I donated blood to save soldiers, that's all." But the hologram's words echoed in his mind, bonded by life essence. The Valari called it Soul Link, a sacred promise between savior and saved. Outside, the alien ship hummed faintly. Glowing under the twin moons, Aliera stood by the colony's energy fence, staring into the stars, her face calm, but her eyes heavy with something ancient and deep. Commander Reese approached her, his weapon lowered. "You're causing chaos here," he said. "If this bond of yours is a mistake, we need to correct it." Aliera turned her gaze toward him, her voice soft but filled with steel. "It is not a mistake. It is written in my blood. His essence saved me. His soul called mine across the void." Reese frowned. Well, his wife doesn't seem too happy about it. Aliera looked toward Ethan's home, a faint sadness in her smile. "Humans feel jealousy," she said quietly. "Valari feel destiny." The next morning, Ethan stepped outside. The colony people avoided him, whispering behind his back. Mara stood in the doorway, silent. Her eyes said what her mouth could not. "How could this happen to us?" Then Aliera appeared, holding a small silver device. "Ethan," she said softly. "You must see this." She pressed a button, and a holographic memory appeared between them. In the vision, Ethan saw a younger version of himself lying wounded on a Valari ship. Surrounded by alien doctors, he saw his blood being used to heal dozens of Valari soldiers, including a dying woman. Aliera, her voice from that moment echoed through the memory. "If I live, I will honor him forever." Ethan staggered back, his heart pounding. "I remember now. The attack on the transport ship," he said slowly. "But I didn't know that." Aliera finished his sentence. "Used your blood for the binding ceremony. It was how we gave thanks. We link our life to our Savior." Mara stepped outside, her voice sharp. "So now what? You think that means he belongs to you?" Aliera's gaze turned gentle. "Not belongs, Mara of Earth, but connected forever." The words burned. Mara turned away, tears falling down her cheeks. "You're tearing my family apart," she said. Aliera lowered her head. "I did not wish to hurt anyone. I only came because I thought he was alone. I was told he had no family." There was silence. Ethan's son, Toby, peeked from behind his mother, curious. "Are you an alien, princess?" he asked shyly. Aliera smiled faintly. "Something like that," she replied. Kneeling, her glowing hair brushed the ground. "Would you like to see a starbird?" A small light formed in her palm and turned into a glowing bird made of energy. Toby's eyes widened with wonder. He laughed, and for a moment, the tension eased. But that peace didn't last. Commander Reese stormed in. "Ethan, Central Command wants answers," he said. "We've received a message from the Valari fleet. They're demanding Aliera's return. They say she's disobeyed direct orders." Aliera's expression darkened. "They wish to force me home," she said. "But my heart is bound here." Reese muttered, "You better fix this before the Valari bring war to our doorstep." Ethan looked at Aliera, frustration and confusion burning inside him. "You can't stay here. You'll put my family in danger." Aliera's glowing eyes dimmed. "Then I will leave," she said softly. "But know this, when the stars fall, I will still protect you." That night, as the colony lights dimmed, Mara sat awake, staring at her sleeping children. Ethan stood outside, watching the alien ship. Aliera stood at the ramp, her hair flowing like liquid silver. Ethan of Earth, she said quietly. You saved my people once. The Valari never forget their debts. If danger comes, call my name, and I will return. Ethan opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, her ship's lights flared, and the ground trembled slightly. In seconds, the silver vessel lifted off, rising into the dark sky. But as it disappeared among the stars, a faint whisper filled the air, almost like a promise. Our bond is not over, my human. Days passed since Aliera's ship had vanished into the stars, yet the memory of her glowing eyes and her calm voice refused to fade. Ethan tried to return to normal life, fixing machines, laughing with his children, pretending everything was fine. But late at night, when the wind whistled through the colony towers, he sometimes heard her words echoing in his head. Our bond is not over, my human. The colony had grown quiet. People no longer whispered about the alien bride, but something in the air felt wrong. The stars above the colony shimmered faintly red every night, almost as if watching. One evening, Lena was playing near the energy fence when her toy began to float. She gasped, "Papa, look!" Ethan ran outside, his eyes widening as the toy slowly landed in her hands. A faint blue spark shimmered in the air. It was the same color as Aliera's ship. Then a familiar hum filled the sky. The sound that once brought shock now brought silence and fear. The same silver ship reappeared, but this time it was damaged, smoke trailing behind it. It landed roughly outside the colony, sending sand clouds in every direction. Ethan's heart raced. Mara stepped out behind him, holding Toby close. "She's back," she whispered. Aliera stepped down the ramp, her suit torn, her face pale but calm. Her eyes flickered with pain. "Ethan," she said weakly, "I had no choice. They followed me." Commander Reese and his soldiers surrounded her, weapons drawn. "Who followed you?" he demanded. Aliera looked at the sky. "The Valari Council. They believe I betrayed them by coming here. They plan to erase this colony to purify our bond." A deep tremor shook the ground as dark ships appeared above the clouds. Valari war vessels, sleek and black like blades of light. The colony sirens wailed, children cried, and people ran for shelter. Ethan grabbed Aliera's arm. "Why would they attack us? You didn't do anything wrong." She looked into his eyes. "In Valari law, a bond between races is forbidden. My coming here has dishonored my people." Her voice broke slightly. "And now they want me dead." The first blast hit the outer dome, shaking the colony walls. Mara screamed, pulling the children to cover. Aliera lifted her hands, energy swirling around her like fire. A bright shield formed above the colony, blocking the next strike. The force made her stagger, but she didn't stop. "Get inside," Ethan shouted, but she shook her head. "No, I must hold the barrier," she said. Her body glowed brighter, the energy pouring from her like liquid starlight. The colony lights flickered. Commander Reese looked at Ethan. "She's protecting us. If she falls, the dome goes down." Mara stared through the glass window, watching Aliera stand alone against the storm of fire from the sky. For the first time, she felt no anger, only awe. Her voice trembled. "She's saving our children." Hours passed. The bombardment stopped. Aliera collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Ethan ran to her side, catching her before she fell. Her skin was cold, but her eyes still shone faintly. "They won't stop," she whispered. "They will return with more ships." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we'll be ready." But Aliera shook her head. "No, you can't fight them with human weapons. There's something stronger." She reached into her torn suit and pulled out a glowing crystal. "This is a core from my ship. It links to the Valari command network. With this, you can call their fleet or destroy it." Ethan took the crystal, its light pulsing like a heartbeat in his hand. "Why are you giving this to me?" She smiled weakly. "Because my bond chose you, and I trust you more than my own people." The next morning, the sky was quiet again. The colony was damaged, but alive. Children played in the streets, whispering stories about the silver lady who stopped the fire. Mara brought Aliera food and medicine, her voice soft. "You saved us." Aliera smiled faintly. "Your children gave me strength." Mara hesitated, then said, "Maybe you're not here to take my family away. Maybe you're here to protect it. Ethan stood at the window, watching the rising sun reflect off the alien crystal. He felt something stir deep within him. Fear, hope, and something else, something unspoken. That night, when everyone slept, Ethan held the glowing crystal close and whispered, "If this bond is destiny, then let me understand it." The crystal shimmered, sending a faint signal into the void. Far beyond the stars, deep in the Volari system, a red alarm flickered in a control room. A commander turned to his officers, his eyes narrowing. "The human has activated the heart link," he said. "Prepare the fleet." The dawn after the attack was unnaturally still. The colony's sky hung heavy with smoke, but no ships were visible. Only silence and the faint glow of repair drones moving across shattered walls. Ethan stood beside the main tower, holding the glowing crystal Aliera had given him. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat in his hand. Aliera rested in the medical bay, her silver skin dimmed. Mara watched over her quietly. The tension between them had softened. It was no longer jealousy. It was something deeper, a shared fear. Then the silence broke, the sky darkened, and an enormous shadow fell across the colony. The clouds parted, revealing a colossal Volari battleship, black as night and covered in living metal. Its engines rumbled like thunder. Commander Reese's voice crackled through the speakers. "Everyone is shelters. This isn't a raid. It's a full diplomatic vessel." The massive ship landed outside the colony walls, shaking the ground. A ramp extended, and armored figures descended. At their center walked High Commander Thaurin, his armor marked with royal insignias and glowing symbols. Aliera slowly rose from her bed, despite her injuries. "He's come for me," she whispered. Mara frowned. "Who is he?" Aliera's voice was cold. "My bondkeeper and my jailer." Ethan met her at the gate as the Volari delegation approached. Thaurin's gaze fell upon him, his expression unreadable. "Ethan of Earth," he said in a voice like ice. "You carry what does not belong to you." Ethan clenched his fist around the crystal. "You mean this?" he asked. "She gave it to me." Thaurin's lips curved into a thin smile. "She had no right to. The heart core is Volari property, and she has violated our highest law by forming an emotional bond with a human." Aliera stepped forward, her eyes burning with quiet rage. "It was not a choice," she said. "It was fate. It was the ancient bond." Thaurin's gaze hardened. "The bond is not sacred when it mixes with impurity." The soldiers behind him raised their weapons. The colony guards did the same. The air shimmered with tension. Ethan took a step in front of Aliera. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." The commander laughed coldly. "A fragile creature of flesh and dust? You defy the Volari Empire?" Ethan's voice didn't shake. "I defy anyone who threatens my family." The commander's smile vanished. "Then you are the reason for her disgrace," he said. "She will return to Velar for purification, and her colony will be erased to restore order." The words hit like a hammer. Mara gasped. "Purification? You mean..." Aliera cut in. "Death. They will kill me to erase the bond." Ethan's grip tightened. He could feel the crystal heating in his palm, pulsing stronger with every heartbeat. Aliera's eyes widened. "Ethan, don't." But it was too late. The crystal flared bright blue, sending a wave of light across the field. The Volari soldiers staggered back as the air filled with energy. Thaurin raised a hand, but the light struck him like lightning. When it faded, everyone froze. Ethan stood, glowing faintly, his veins lit with alien blue fire. Aliera stared in shock. "The core has chosen," she whispered. "It bonded with you completely." Thaurin's eyes burned with fury. "You fool. You've merged human and Volari essence, something forbidden by nature itself." Ethan felt power surging through him, his mind filled with distant voices and images, stars, ships, battlefields, and strange code flowing like rivers of light. "I can see their ships," he whispered. "I can feel their minds." Aliera stepped closer. "You've linked to the Volari network. You can control their fleet." Thaurin roared. "He's corrupted the Sacred Heart. Kill them both." Blaster fire filled the air. Aliera, threw up her hands, creating a shield of pure light. Ethan's pulse raced as he raised his hand instinctively. The ground trembled, and a shockwave exploded outward, throwing the Valari soldiers backward like ragdolls. The humans stood frozen, staring at Ethan in awe and fear. Mara whispered, "Ethan, what have you become?" Ethan looked at his hands, still glowing. "I don't know," he said softly, "but I think she just made me part of something much bigger." Thaurin rose, fury burning in his eyes. "This is war now. Human," he spat. "Your world will burn for this blasphemy." He retreated to his ship, which rose into the sky with a roar, disappearing among the stars. Aliera turned to Ethan, her voice trembling. "They will summon the full Valari fleet, millions of ships. They won't stop until you're dead." Ethan looked at her with calm resolve. "Then let them come," he said, "because this time humanity won't kneel." The part ended with the camera pulling back from the small colony, now glowing with strange blue veins of energy spreading through its walls. The stars above flickered, as if awakening, and a deep hum echoed from beyond the galaxy. The following days were tense and hauntingly quiet. The Valari fleet had retreated, but everyone knew it was only the calm before a storm. Above the colony's skies, strange auroras shimmered, blue, gold, and violet streaks, signs of cosmic energy bleeding through the atmosphere. Ethan stood outside the colony dome, the alien crystal now embedded in his palm. It pulsed faintly, syncing with his heartbeat. He could sense the Valari fleet far away, billions of miles across space, like shadows moving closer each day. Inside the command center, Aliera stood beside Mara and Commander Reese, her expression calm, but her voice heavy. "They're preparing for full-scale war," she said. "The High Council has ordered my execution and Earth's destruction." Reese slammed his hand on the table. "Then we fight." Aliera shook her head. "You don't understand. Human weapons can't pierce their shield matrices. They'll crush your planet in hours." Ethan entered, the blue glow from his veins faintly lighting the room. "Maybe," he said quietly, "but they've never faced a human connected to their own network." Mara turned to him, her face pale. "Ethan, this power, it's changing you." Ethan looked down at his hands. "Maybe, but if it can save you, it's worth it." Aliera's eyes softened. "You don't have to do this alone," she said. Ethan met her gaze. "You gave me this bond, Aliera. It's not just mine, it's ours." Suddenly, the ground shook violently. Warning sirens wailed. Reese shouted, "They're back." Multiple signatures, Valari destroyers entering orbit. The colony erupted into chaos. People ran for shelters. Mara clutched her children tightly. Aliera and Ethan rushed to the observation deck. Through the glass dome, they saw the sky filled with fire, dozens of dark ships descending like meteors. "This is it," Ethan said. "They're not here to talk." Aliera turned toward him. "Ethan, listen carefully. There's only one way to stop them. You must use the core to connect with their central mind." Ethan frowned. "You mean control them?" She shook her head. "Not control. Merge. You can rewrite their purpose, end the war from inside their network." Reese looked alarmed. "You're asking him to link his brain to an alien hive mind? That's suicide." Aliera's voice broke slightly. "It's the only way. If he doesn't, millions will die." Ethan looked at Mara, her eyes full of fear and love. "Don't do this," she whispered. "We'll find another way." Ethan took her hand gently. "I can feel them already. They're afraid too. They're just following orders. If I can reach their leader, maybe I can stop it." Aliera stepped closer, placing her hand over his. "If you go, I go," she said. "Our bond began together. It will end together." Mara turned away, tears falling silently. "Then promise me," she said. "Promise you'll come back." Ethan smiled faintly. "You know me," he whispered. "I always fix broken things." The colony shook again. Another blast struck the outer dome. Ethan and Aliera rushed to the control tower. The core in his hand glowed brighter and brighter. The air crackled around them. The connection was forming. Aliera guided him. "Focus on the link, Ethan. Picture the network, picture their minds." Ethan closed his eyes, and suddenly his consciousness exploded outward. He saw everything. Thousands of ships, alien captains, cities under twin suns, the massive Valari homeworld surrounded by rings of light. He could feel their confusion, their hatred, and their fear of him. In the center of it all was Thalren, his mind burning like a black star. You cannot stop destiny. Human, his voice thundered across the void. You've poisoned our purity. Ethan's voice echoed back through the link. Then maybe purity isn't what the galaxy needs. He sent a surge of energy through the core, not as an attack, but as a signal. Images of Earth flashed through the network. Children laughing, oceans, music, the beauty of imperfection. The Valari soldiers hesitated, their minds overwhelmed by alien emotions they'd never felt before. Love, sorrow, hope. Thalren roared, "You're infecting them." He unleashed a psychic storm. Ethan cried out, collapsing to his knees. Aliera caught him, her own energy flaring. "Stay with me, Ethan," she shouted. Their energies intertwined, glowing brighter. Aliera's voice whispered into his mind, "If you die, I die too." Ethan's fading consciousness replied, "Then let's finish this together." The core erupted, sending a shockwave of pure light through the galaxy. Every Valari ship froze mid-air, their weapons powering down. In the void of space, Thalren's ship cracked apart, his last words echoing, "No, the bond was never meant to unite us." The blast faded, leaving silence. The Valari ships drifted, motionless, then slowly turned away, retreating. In the colony, the light faded from Ethan's body. Aliera held him tightly, tears glowing silver as they fell. "Ethan, wake up," she whispered, but he didn't move. Mara rushed in, her voice breaking. "Is he?" Aliera shook her head, her face pale. "He's still inside the network," she said. "He gave himself to save everyone." The part ended with a quiet shot of the sky, the stars glowing brighter than ever. The war was over. But Ethan's mind was lost among the stars, half human, half Valari, a bridge between two worlds. The world thought Ethan Cole was dead. Months passed since the great light had torn across the sky, ending the Valari invasion. The colony rebuilt itself from ashes. People called him the human who stopped a war, and every night they left candles glowing on the hills to honor him. Aliera lived quietly in the colony now. Her power was fading. Her once glowing skin had turned pale. The link that had tied her to Ethan still pulsed weakly inside her chest. Like a dying star, sometimes she heard his voice faintly, a whisper carried by the wind. "Aliera, hold on." Mara often visited her. They no longer saw each other as enemies, but as two souls bound by the same loss. "He saved us all," Mara would say softly. Aliera would smile faintly. "He saved everything." One cold night, the sky turned crimson again. The northern horizon burned with light, and the ground trembled. Commander Reese ran into the control tower, shouting, "Energy surge, same frequency as the core." Aliera's heart raced. "It's him," she whispered. The monitors flickered, alien symbols filling every screen. The voice that followed was low and distorted, but familiar. "This is Ethan Cole." Everyone froze. Mara covered her mouth, tears already forming. "The Valari system has fallen in a civil war." Ethan's voice continued. "Thalren's followers are trying to destroy their homeworld, to erase the bond forever." Reese frowned. "He's alive, out there, inside their network." Aliera's eyes glowed again for the first time in months. "He's fighting them alone." Without hesitation, she turned toward her old ship. "Prepare the engines," she said. "I'm going after him." Mara grabbed her hand. "You'll die out there?" Aliera smiled. "Maybe, but I would rather die saving him than live without him." The colony watched as her silver ship rose once more, cutting through the red sky like a falling star. As she crossed into deep space, the Valari fleet loomed ahead, massive ships tearing each other apart, planets burning in the distance. Ethan's presence was everywhere, woven into the systems, guiding and fighting. "Aliera, why did you come?" His voice echoed in her mind. She closed her eyes, whispering, "Because our bond was never a curse. It was hope." Her ship breached the orbit of Velar Prime, the once shining capital world now collapsing under civil fire. In the planet's orbit floated a gigantic black sphere pulsing with dark energy, the core nexus, the Valari's control heart, and Ethan's prison. Aliera dove through enemy fire, plasma beams cutting across her hull. Alarm screamed, but she pushed forward. Her hands trembled on the controls. "Hold together," she whispered. "Hold for him." Inside the Nexus, Ethan drifted in a storm of data and energy, half human, half light, his mind split between billions of signals. The Valari rebels surrounded his consciousness, tried to erase him. "You don't belong here, human," they hissed. Aliera's ship crashed through the Nexus wall, piercing the storm of energy. Her body burned as she left the cockpit and stepped into the glowing void. "Ethan!" she screamed. Her voice echoed across the digital sea. He turned toward her, his form made of shifting blue light, his eyes human but glowing like stars. "Aliera, you shouldn't have come," she smiled through tears, "and you shouldn't have stayed." The rebels struck again, black energy surging. Ethan cried out. Fading, Aliera rushed forward, pressing her glowing hand against his chest. "Take my strength," she said. "Take all of it." He shook his head. "If I take it, you'll—" She cut him off, whispering, "You gave me life once, now let me return it." Light exploded from their joined hands, bright enough to shatter the entire network. Across the galaxy, Valari ships powered down. Weapons went silent. The rebellion collapsed as their systems fell under Ethan's restored control. When the light faded, Aliera lay motionless in the void. Ethan knelt beside her, his body flickering between human and energy. "Aliera, stay with me," he whispered. She smiled faintly, her voice soft. "Now you're free, my human." Her hand slipped from his, and her body dissolved into light, merging with the stars. Ethan's heart broke, but in her final gift, she gave him a path home. The core pulsed, opening a wormhole back to Earth's system. A moment later, a blinding light streaked across the night sky above the colony. Reese and Mara ran outside, watching in disbelief as a burning capsule crashed near the outer field. When the dust cleared, Ethan Cole stood there, alive, but changed. His eyes shimmered faintly with silver light, and his voice carried the calm echo of 1,000 stars. "She's gone," he said quietly, "but she saved them all." Mara fell to her knees, crying with joy and sorrow. The children ran to him, wrapping their arms around him. He hugged them tightly, whispering, "She's still here, somewhere above us." That night, Ethan sat alone on the hill where the candles still burned, looking up at the sky. One star shimmered brighter than the rest, silver and soft. He smiled faintly. "Thank you, Aliera," he whispered, "for teaching us what it means to love across worlds." Weeks passed since Ethan's miraculous return. The colony was alive. Again, children laughed, crops grew, and the stars above no longer carried the threat of war. But inside Ethan, something had changed. The Valari energy still pulsed beneath his skin, faint and rhythmic, like a heartbeat not his own. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt her. Aliera, her voice, her light, her memory whispering through the silence of space. "I am with you, always." Despite peace, there was unrest among the stars. Rumors spread that not all Valari had accepted defeat. A rogue faction called the Ascendants believed Aliera's death had corrupted their destiny, and that Ethan's bond with her had defiled their sacred bloodline. They swore vengeance, not just on him, but on Earth itself. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Commander Reese arrived at Ethan's door, his face grim. "You need to see this," he said. He handed Ethan a datapad showing faint signals beyond Mars' orbit. Ships moving in formation, Valari signatures. "They're back," Reese whispered. Mara stood behind Ethan, fear tightening her voice. "After everything we've lost, why can't they stop?" Ethan looked out the window at the stars, his eyes glowing faintly silver. "Because they don't understand yet," he said. "They still think love is weakness." He walked to the small hill where Aliera's memorial stood, a silver shard of her ship, half buried in the soil. He placed his hand on it, whispering, "You said our bond wasn't over, Aliera, so if there's any part of you left, Help me now. The shard shimmered faintly, and suddenly the crystal in his palm, the heart core, began to glow. It pulsed stronger than ever before, beams of light spiraling into the sky. Reese stumbled back, shouting, "Ethan, what's happening?" Ethan fell to his knees, his voice trembling. "She's still connected. She's trying to return." Above them, the stars bent, space rippled as if reality itself were tearing, and out of the rift descended a massive construct of light. Neither ship nor being, but a fusion of both. Its shape shifted like a heartbeat. Its voice echoed across the colony, melodic and haunting. "I am Aliera, reborn through the bond." The people dropped to their knees in awe. Mara covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. "It's her," she whispered. Ethan looked up stunned. "You came back." Her voice filled the air, gentle and powerful. "Not as I was, but as what we created, human and Valari united." From the horizon, dark shadows emerged. The Ascendant fleet, hundreds of black ships closing in. Commander Reese shouted orders. Alarms blared, but Ethan raised his hand. No more weapons. No more war. He looked at Aliera's luminous form hovering above the colony. "Can you reach them?" he asked. Her light flickered softly. "Only if you join with me again." Ethan hesitated, his human instincts screaming to stay, to live for his family, but deep down he knew this was the final step of their destiny. He turned to Mara, who was crying silently. "You'll lose yourself," she said. "You'll lose us." Ethan smiled faintly. "I'll never lose you. I'll just become part of something greater." He kissed her forehead, hugged his children tightly, and whispered, "Remember, love isn't bound by form. It's the one thing that survives everything." Then he walked into the light, Aliera's light. The heart core in his hand melted into energy, and their bodies merged, human and Valari essence twisting together like twin stars colliding. The sky exploded with silver radiance. The Ascendant fleet froze mid-attack as the energy wave expanded across the system. Ethan and Aliera's combined consciousness reached into every Valari mind, showing them the truth. Aliera's sacrifice, Ethan's courage, the beauty of imperfection, the strength of love beyond species or logic. Millions of alien soldiers dropped their weapons, overcome by emotions they'd never known. Peace, empathy, sorrow, hope. The Ascendant ships turned away, engines powering down. When the light faded, the sky was calm again. The great construct of light had vanished, leaving behind a gentle silver aurora that stretched across the heavens. Mara looked up, whispering, "You did it, Ethan, both of you did." Weeks later, a strange phenomenon began across Valari space. Flowers of pure light began blooming on desolate planets, growing without soil or water. The Valari called them Aliera's tears, and they said each one contained the echo of humanity's soul. Back on Earth, Lena and Toby often climbed the hill where the silver shard still stood. Sometimes, when the wind was still, they heard faint laughter, Ethan's deep chuckle, and Aliera's melodic voice, drifting through the air. The story ended not with war, but with rebirth. Humanity and Valari had become one people, bound by the legacy of two hearts that defied galaxies. And above them all, in the endless stars, a single silver light burned brighter than all others, pulsing softly in rhythm with a human heartbeat.